Good morning. Thank you for joining us for another virtual update on the city's response to COVID-19 and other matters pressing on my mind as we go into another week. I'm glad to have with us Alderman Nick Palumbo of the 4th District and Alderman Curtis Pertee of the 6th District. A year ago this morning, I woke up after spending a good portion of the night at Memorial Health with the family and fellow officers of Sergeant Kelvin Ansari, who heroically gave his life the night before in the line of duty. Yesterday, I joined Chief Minter and a battalion of fellow officers and the Effingham County Sheriff's Office and the 200 Club of the Coastal Empire at the Ansari home in Guyton to show our respects in an impressive and meaningful show of respect. Our collective thoughts are still with his widow, Charlotte, his children, family, and fellow officers that loved and respected him. We will not forget the Ansari family, and we certainly won't let the Ansari family forget us. As you're aware, due to the coronavirus and our desire to protect our employees in the sanitation department, we cut the number of employees riding in the same truck, and we temporarily suspended the pickup of yard waste and recyclables. This was anticipated to be a short-term solution, and at the end of April, we started a one-time citywide collection of yard waste. To be absolutely honest and frank, the amount of debris greatly exceeded our expectations, and the pickup is taking way longer than we anticipated. And for this, I apologize. We have been moving through various neighborhoods, and now we are in neighborhoods in the 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th District. We've identified several neighborhoods still waiting for services, and I'll call them. In East Side, Dixon Park, East Victorian District, Baldwin Park, Live Oak, Benjamin Van Clark, Parkside, Ardsley Park, Chatham Crescent, Ardmore Gould Estates in Olin Heights, Abercorn Heights, Lamar Heights, Ridgewood and Poplar Heights, Memorial Hospital and Fairfield, Edgemere, Avalon, the Oglethorpe Mall area, Paradise Park, Leeds Gate, Colonial Village and Hunter's Chase, Largo Woods and Quail Forest, Wilshire Estates, Savannah Mall and Tranquilla Woods, The Village, Rio, Armstrong, White Bluff, Holland Drive, White Bluff Neighborhoods, Windsor Forest, Coffee Bluff and Rosedew, and Wild Heron Plantation, Southern Woods, and Havisham Plantations. So while this might seem like a lot, we have probably well over 100 plus neighborhoods. And so we are doing our best to get to these neighborhoods as quickly as possible. We admittedly have received numerous complaints and inquiries from our neighbors across the city regarding the pickup of yard waste. My office has received complaints. Alderman Palumbo, Alderman Pertee, other members of our council have also been deluged with complaints as well. Talking with the city manager, we have increased the number of trucks working in these areas in order to get the yard waste picked up. And we have also included Saturday pickup. So I'm confident that we will have the yard waste picked up relatively quickly. Again, I apologize for it taking so long, but I hope that we remember that we are living in some unusual circumstances. Therefore, we have not been operating as usual. We will not stop until we've reached every single neighborhood, and by that time, hopefully, prayerfully, we would have resumed our regular pickup schedule. And we thank our employees, our citizens for their understanding and their patience during this time. Last weekend was another beautiful weekend in Savannah. The streets were increasingly busy, and we had a steady stream of visitors in our city. We're still not getting it. I took the time to ride around, and folks are walking around like we're not living in the middle of a pandemic. People walking around, no mask, no social distancing. Folks, this is unacceptable. We have been very fortunate and blessed that although we're the fifth most populous county in Georgia, out of the 159 counties, we're comparatively 138th in the state in infection rate. We want to keep it that way. We cannot keep it that way as long as we're acting like things are okay and things are normal. Things are not normal. We want you to protect yourself. We want you to protect others you come in contact with. And although I've been somewhat criticized for a variety of things, I will tell you straight up and honest that although we're going down to hospitalizations, and that's a great thing, although we're going down in respirator use, and that's a good thing, infections cause hospitalizations, which cause the uses of respirators. So it's important for us to keep our infection rate down. We know how to keep our infection rate down. Staying away from each other, wearing masks, social distancing, washing our hands. We need you to do this. We know this past weekend was a great weekend of celebration. Everybody loved their mamas. I love mine too. And I love mine enough to stay away from them. We want to celebrate our graduates, the class of 2020. We know you wanted to too. That's why they have things called Cash Apps and PayPal and Zelle and a variety of things that you can show your love from a distance. I am terrified at the thought and the fact that people are treating this situation as if everything is okay. And folks, I will tell you that we're not okay. We have the 6th highest 7-day rolling average. We're in the same place today that we were on April the 3rd. We have over 300 cases of infections, and folks are still dying in this community. And if I'm the last one to say it, I will continue to be the last one to say it, that we need you, we want you to do everything you can to remain safe. And I'm not sure how much clearer I could put that. To that end, I've even asked the city attorney to investigate the city's legal options in requiring the wearing of masks or cloth face coverings in the public space. That if you're not going to protect yourself, then we need to help protect you from others. We need your help. We need your help. And so I'll wait for that response. But I'm committed to doing everything I can, and I'm certainly sure that the council will agree to do what we can to make sure people remain safe. Moving on to Resilient Savannah. Resilient Savannah is our new initiative of policies, practices, and collaborations designed to address the after this of COVID-19. It answers questions such as the new normal, lessons learned, and equity and fairness, and how to be better, do better, respond faster, and more intentionally. Last week, we rolled out a resource guide to assist our citizens to navigate the various federal, state, and local services and programs that are available during the unique and challenging time of COVID-19. Additionally, as a part of Resilient Savannah, we are working to find creative solutions to help our business community navigate new health and safety requirements and recover losses. We recognize quite fully there are some things we can control. We recognize that Georgia, whether we like it or not, is open for business. So we need to be able to find ways to help out businesses, to keep their employees and their customers safe, while we are harking and continuing to insist on personal responsibility. And the intersection of business responsibility and business safety and personal responsibility and personal safety is how Savannah is going to emerge from COVID-19. The city's economic development, parking, planning, zoning, and urban design, and special events, film and tourism departments have collaborated to create a pilot proposal expanding outdoor dining in Savannah. This proposal will suggest several options like reducing sidewalk dining, permit requirements and fees, or temporarily closing streets to offer more room for restaurants to serve customers at a safe distance citywide. The City Council will hear more details about this business recovery proposal during our workshop on this Thursday, during our workshop at 10 o'clock a.m. We invite you to watch this virtual meeting on the city's Facebook, YouTube, or SGTV Channel 8. Our city manager, Pat Monahan, and Team Savannah is putting the final touches on a phased-in reopening plan for your city government by the end of this week, and I hope to share those plans with you during next week's news conference. In the coming days, I look forward to introducing other key components of Resilient Savannah as we further engage the community at large to safely open our community. Please be clear, extremely clear, unequivocally clear, that I do not and will not support the opening or operation of any business that does not take intentional and extraordinary steps to protect their employees or their customers. There are some best practices based on the science that can help us get there, but I do not and will not support profits over people. We can do both. We can ensure healthy people and we can encourage profitable businesses. And that is what Resilient Savannah is all about. We hope to continue to work collaboratively with businesses and faith leaders to develop safe methods and practices in our new normal. We're keeping a close eye on our local COVID-19 case data as we work to reopen our economy in a way that makes sense. And rest assured, again, that we're making the health and safety of our employees and our citizens a top priority as we move forward in this new normal. Finally, I want to congratulate all of our pre-K and 3rd, 5th graders, 8th graders who are bridging this week, and to our high school seniors who are celebrating their graduations this week. I will be speaking at several of these ceremonies, and I will be attending others. Although your ceremonies might be happening virtually, this does not diminish your wonderful accomplishments. You have persevered during a pandemic to reach this point, and your city is so proud of you. I will be delivering a special message to the class of 2020 on social media later this week. And again, thank you to all of the teachers, administrators, parents, and supporters who've worked so hard to make this season special for the class of 2020, and want to thank our partners at the Savannah Chatham Board of Public Education, Dr. Buck and Dr. Ann Levesque. In conclusion, please continue to practice social distancing, good hygiene, and common sense. Wash your hands often. If soap and water is not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Please wear a mask or cloth face coverings whenever in the presence of others. Please keep 6 feet between you and others. Keep the faith, but follow the signs. May God bless you. May God continue to bless the city of Savannah. That ends my prepared remarks, and we'll entertain any questions at this time. Mr. Robinson, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. About the yard waste pickup situation, I saw that there were actually City of Savannah employees who were picking up the waste. If I remember correctly, there was a contract with the organization that helps with storm debris cleanup. Did something happen with that contract, or are they sharing the responsibilities with Savannah employees?
No, I think we're realizing, underestimating how much trash we were going to have. It became necessary. People wanted their yard waste picked up, and that's understandable. So to help supplement what we had already on the streets, we employed City of Savannah personnel to help us manage that. That's why I'm confident that we have accelerated our pickup efforts in those neighborhoods that I mentioned because we have additional teams on the street. Go ahead.
It's both City of Savannah employees and the private company that you contract with. They're both working together for this effort.
Yes. Weekends. Right. Ms. Hamilton, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. So kind of going back to when you were saying that it was a really busy weekend in Savannah, something that I've noticed is that the trolleys have started going around downtown again. And so having them open back up, I mean, do you think it kind of has a negative effect on people? I mean, now that the trolleys are open, people are going to come here and get on them and come see our city.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think that's the issue that we had, particularly when, in my opinion, when opening too fast in the way that the state opened. Essentially, what has occurred is that people are going back doing the business that they do. Well, when you do that in a way that's not phased, then people are looking at that and saying, well, things must be okay. It's a subliminal message that, hey, if trolleys are open and tourism is back open, then I can just go back and be okay. They see folks coming here from across the country. They're not wearing masks, so why should I wear a mask? So again, it creates this kind of this perception, if you will, that things in Savannah are okay. My office will be reaching out as well to these trolley companies as well, because I want to make sure that they have, and I'm sure that they have, I want to know what they're doing in terms of what types of practices are they taking place to make sure people stay safe. It cannot be business as usual.
And my other question for you is, when you mentioned having the city attorney look at the legality of having people within city limits having to wear masks when they're out and about, are you essentially just looking for everyone to have a face covering on at all times, obviously to help prevent spreading of the virus?
Well, I think that the science has been very clear that obviously masks are not foolproof, or face coverings are not foolproof. We know that it does diminish the transmission. So it protects you from making others sick. So then if everybody's wearing them, then our chances of infection go down. Again, I've just been in places, I've been in stores. I've seen some very good examples. I went to Walmart, and those employees are all wearing masks. They're all wearing gloves. That is what you want to see. However, the individuals in the stores are not wearing them. I spent a portion of last week at Hunt Army Airfield, and I've been so impressed about what they're doing in terms of their staff. When you walk into one of their buildings, you have to wash or sanitize your hands walking into the building. And then all of their personnel, particularly at their commissary, their PX, their barbershops, they're wearing gloves, they have masks on, they're cleaning the used portions after every single customer. Again, I think we want our residents to feel safe. And I know from that experience there at Hunter, I felt safe, or they were doing what they could do. And I think that is how you transition back into a new normal. That people walk in businesses and being very comfortable seeing businesses doing everything they can do. And so I've been working with some business folks and hoping to roll out soon an initiative that creates some ground rules that make sure that people feel safe going into local businesses. And we're going to ask our local businesses to participate and be a part of it. So I'm excited about it and hope to roll that out soon.
You ultimately think that requiring people that are within city limits, requiring them to wear a face mask, do you kind of think that that's like your last option because people aren't not everyone is voluntarily doing it?
Again, I've made it a kind of a operating procedure to look at all options, and so we want to look at all options. I just want to keep folks safe. That's it. I just want folks to be okay. I don't want another life to be lost. I don't want another family to experience infection. I don't want another employee for a business to call me and say, I don't feel safe going to work. And I just think that, as a city government, we have to be able to do what we can to help make that happen. So, I'm just looking at options at this point, not saying that even if we could, that we would. But I mean, if we cannot do it through influence and begging, maybe there might be ways we could do it legislatively.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sean, you're always last. I'm sorry. Ms. Alex, good morning.
Fair enough.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. So I wanted to ask, so tomorrow, under Kemp's order, basically public swimming can open, bars can reopen. And I know early on you had said the city was kind of in works of possibly extending that, putting in their own, restrictions. So what do you kind of plan to do? I know he's going to have a press conference today, but what is your kind of plan if that goes forward?
I think it's very clear, again, the science is that, places of proximity are issues. Bars, by its very nature, clubs, by its very nature, are social places. I mean, the purpose is to go and have fun and be there with people. And when you introduce alcohol into the into the equation, you have now a heightened propensity for infection. We are evaluating all of our options. Again, I'm dedicated and committed to keeping Savannah people and Savannah businesses safe. Ms. Katie, good morning.
Good morning. I am not sure if the city manager is there, but could we get an update on the progress on the sanitary and homeless camp over on Dundee Street?
You have an update?
Okay. There. I get this mic up here. The mic that's on you. Take that off just so I can make sure I get all of you. You can take it off and completely not put it to here.
You made me get undressed.
I just need to make sure we get him okay, here's that.
Thank you. We'll have to practice that handoff and get some spray in here, some Lysol spray. So to answer your question, Katie, yes, the work is continuing. I think it should be open for business this week. We had some last-minute details to work out. I don't know if you've been out there, but the boundaries have been marked to make sure. We've also been talking to some of the neighbors, particularly the Housing Authority and also the Homeless Authority because of the Veterans Village next door, just to make sure that the city of Savannah will be good neighbors. We're putting up a sign. We're asking each of the residents who will move in on a temporary basis to sign an authorization slip in which they recognize there will be certain rules. And I think because of that, the city's starting to take a look at some of these other homeless camps and trying to set a uniform pattern for all of them. If these homeless camps are on city property, then the homeless need to observe city rules. For example, that's regarding no alcohol, of course no drugs, no weapons, and I think that will provide the city with an opportunity for enforcement. The city is also taking a look at a security plan that we've worked out, that the city staff has worked out with the Savannah Police Department to maintain security in that area as well. So yes, the camp should be open this week.
And are you starting first with just putting tents and I think is there portable showers and things like that, and then possibly going to using containers later on?
Yes. I mentioned yesterday in a separate call, that Pat Shea and Associate, Pat Shea, Gunmeyer Shea, has developed just this cool plan for the city to provide clusters, depending upon whether the homeless village is dedicated to singles, parents with children, and units that go anywhere from about 180 square feet up to 400 square feet. But they don't look. The problem is I want everyone to get out of their mind what a container. These do not look like the containers that you see floating up and down the Savannah River. These cool homes. Maybe I'll live in one someday. Who knows? But that is phase two. Right now we're just focused on setting up for the overflow of homeless. I'm sure you've noticed them throughout the community, and particularly since a lot of the shelters have gone to social distancing and reduced the numbers. That's forced more homeless out into the streets and into the community. So we're trying to address that problem immediately and then take a look at some long-term solutions as part of it. And hopefully along the way, because of the way the city's trying to address this, that the federal government through the CARES Act will be picking up a lot of the funding.
Thank you.
We'll also soon be announcing our Housing Savannah Task Force with the intent purposes of providing us a affordable housing plan or making housing affordable to Savannahans, and it'll look at a variety of things to include those that are transient, those that are transitional homeless, and those that are chronically homeless as well. Yes, ma'am.
So I wanted to ask, so today the Savannah Chatham County Public School meal program is set to end. I believe it's either today or tomorrow. And I was wondering if there was any kind of update on the summer lunch program that I believe is run through the Park and Rec Department.
I know that the city has approved the purchasing of the meals for the USDA. Right now we're on target, but I think again, as a part of the city manager's plan, we really have to look at a whole lot of things. Again, which is why it's so important for us to keep our infections down. You know, summer is here, and we engage a lot of young people during the summer. Our ability to engage young people, our ability to have our community centers open, all depends on our ability to be able to keep our infection rates down. And again, that's a very, very, very narrow plank to walk, because again, we don't want city facilities or city personnel to become, you know, the petri dish, if you will, of infections. So that's been one of our concerns. Again, you know, we operate a bunch of swimming pools. Again, you know, we know it's not going to be business as usual. We know that, you know, kids don't get that. And so, you know, again, those are some of the considerations, and we'll roll those out soon. But again, I wanted, as the city manager knows, we want it to be based on the science and based on what's best and what's safe for our citizens. Any other questions before I go to Sean? Okay, well, Sean actually has appeared. I guess he got tired of us ragging him about showing up when he's ready to ask a question. But from the man cave at the Evans home, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I was clear on the parameters of the mask possibility in the city. So is that all outdoors? Is that only going in city buildings? What are you asking Bates to look at as far as the exact locations within the city limits where people would be required to wear masks?
I just want to know what our options are. And then, you know, for our form function, so once we look at what we can do, then let's look at what we will do. Obviously, we have the most control over our city buildings, and we will, you know, let the city manager, once we get to that point, talk about how we're going to do that. Again, I'm just very concerned about our folks. And again, I think if you're walking down the street by yourself, it's fine. My issue is that, you know, people are walking and passing and conversing, and nobody has a mask on. That's an issue for me. The other issue is, and if I could just rant for just a second, is this. Wearing a mask off of your ear is not an effective way to wear a mask. So, I mean, you say, well, I have a mask, it's right here. Well, if it's not on you, then is it being utilized effectively? And if I can rant just a little bit more, is that when you have finished with your mask, when you finish with your gloves, the streets of Savannah are not the place to put them. And we are seeing, and I'm sure you're seeing it as well, when you ride up and down the streets, you're seeing litter that's masked and gloves. You know, it not only creates almost a biohazard for our employees that have to pick that stuff up. We don't know where it's been. But, you know, we just want people to be responsible. take those masks, take those gloves. When you go home, dispose of them. Don't dispose of them on our city streets. It also adds to our litter issue. And again, that's just something I've been very concerned about.
Just one other thing. I know week to week, eyes on the budget and potential changes down the road. I know, again, we're looking at the end of this month as seeing where things go from there. But any new big changes that you can talk about this week compared to last?
No. Again, and what makes the situation so fluid is that it all depends on the rate of infections. If we're doing better, we can do more. We can get back to our new normal soon. If we have more infections and we're going to protect our employees, then it stops us from getting to that point as quickly, and then there are more budgetal implications. So again, I know I sound like a broken record, harping on protecting, but it's really important. It's vitally important that our residents do what they can. We can't get to our new normal until they do what they're supposed to do now, and we need people to be okay. We do. I will tell you that I get around a lot, but I'll tell you personally, and it's been very difficult for me, my movements have been limited. Most of the places I'm in my car, and then I'm between City Hall and home. It's killing me. It is extremely difficult. But the reality is that I'm enduring this short-term, immediate pain for the long-term gain of being to the point where we can go out and visit neighborhoods again and be in proximity with our neighbors and check on our elderly and be the beloved community that we say we're going to be. But we can't be there today. We just can't. 300 infections is a lot of infections. But as you all know from other counties, other cities, it only takes a little bit of time for those to explode. And again, when you're interacting with people, there is an incubation period in which you can be asymptomatic, not showing any symptoms, and you can still infect people. And so, because of that, that's why we have to have people to be careful. That's why I didn't get on the plane this weekend to go to New York to see my mother, because I'm concerned about coming back here and infecting the folks on my team. So I just stay where I'm at, and we just need that message to get out there. We're not being draconian. We're not being, I think, overly restrictive. We just want people to be safe. And if you don't care about yourself, then care about your neighbors. Care about the people in your community. Care about grandma and granddad. Care about the people that you say you love. That's all I'm saying. So I've been working with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and we're looking for ways of really being able to find ways to find masks, and I have a shipment coming in that we're going to make available to the general public. We want people, if you don't have a mask, it's okay. You can have a face covering, but we'll hopefully soon have masks that we'll have available to the general public, and we'll make them available also to our homeless community. Again, we just want people to be okay. That's all we want. I've been appalled at the number of young kids I see running around, and they don't have masks on. Parents, we need your help. We need you to put face coverings on your young people. Let's teach them what safety is about. We teach them how to wash their hands. Let's teach them how to protect themselves from others. And I'm sorry, let me get off my soapbox, but again, this is really serious to me. Anything else, Sean?
That's it, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Nick. Nick?
Just a quick follow-up on the initiative to possibly move dining outdoors, like by closing down some streets and parking spots. Is there any timeline thought for that, or is this just kind of brainstorming right now?
I've charged city staff to be creative, to look outside the box, to look at best practices across the country. I've been doing the same. And everything doesn't fit Savannah. Some things do, and we have to determine what fits our locale. And so right now it's just a proposal. This will require council action, so therefore, the specifics of which I don't want to share before council is advised. So they'll hear about it on Thursday, and then, based on what they do, we'll be able to roll out additional ways. I think for me, the concern I think it's a good idea, good concept. For me, it's to make sure it's citywide, that we create opportunities citywide for businesses to be able to create that experience. There are places that we logistically, in my mind, cannot do it for obvious reasons, but I think there are places where we can. And if that encourages people to come and support our local businesses, I'm all for it, provided they're operating in a safe way. Again, we'll talk more about that initiative. So, any other questions from anybody? ACL, any questions? All right, y'all doing all right? All right, well, it's a big, beautiful week here in Savannah. We want people to get out and enjoy it. I mean, Nick is outside. Elizabeth is in her car. We want people to get out and enjoy our city. It's a beautiful city. I think you could do that with a face cover. I think you could do that going into businesses that are going through the extraordinary steps to take care of their businesses and take care of their employees. And soon we'll put out those names of those folks we think are doing a really good job, and we want you to support those. But I just think we can do it together, and we're going to be able to do it together. We just have to take this seriously, right? So I thank Alderman Palumbo, Alderman Pertee, for being here with us today, and I hope that I continue to have their support and the support of the council as we navigate through these extraordinary times. None of us signed up for this. We just did not realize when we raised our right hand and swore before God and everybody else that we would be dealing with a pandemic. So again, for those folks that have not had Yahweh picked up, again, we're sorry. And again, bear with us. Again, these are extraordinary times. We're doing the best we can, and we will get to you soon. Okay? Thank our Public Information Office as always, and ma'am. Did I do it right? You did it right. I did it right. Thank you all so much. Okay. God bless.
Thank you.